Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I will be covering the story of what happened to the Olympic after World War I ended. Let's jump in. And actually the Olympic had an encounter with a U-boat on one morning. This U-boat shot 2 torpedoes at the Olympic. One hit dead center. The other went just past the bow. But that torpedo never detonated, and after the Titanic disaster, the Olympic had an inner skin installed, so the Olympic did not suffer any flooding, which that's pretty cool. And it wasn't actually noticed until after the war when she was in a harbor and some crew people saw her and said, hey, there's a big dent in there. Which, how do you miss that for a couple of years? Kind of crazy. And it would have been a shame if the Olympics sank that morning, because the 20s would have been one of the most successful years for the Olympic. One of the biggest changes during this refit after the war is her engines and her machinery. See, the Olympic was originally a coal-burning ship. So, people down in the engine room would endlessly shuffle coal into the boilers, which created steam which powered the engines. But since 1912, a lot of people have been, people at the White Star Line were considering just changing her to an oil-burning steam ship, mainly because she would be faster and it would require less hands in the engine room, and the big ol' coal smoke from the coal fires, it would just be fresh oil. Well, like just small little dusks of oil coming out of the top, which would look a lot cleaner. And one of the refit changes of her, I would like to call her skin, is that they moved her yellow line down so it would look a lot more cleaner, which personally I like to look more when she had it above. But hey, I'm not a part of the White Star Line. I don't make the decisions here. And the Olympic, she would have below the promenade to use little, well, my model doesn't show it. There were these triangular cranes on the side that would take coal and put it in the bunkers, but because of the refit, they didn't need it anymore, and they just took them out to give the side of the Olympic a fresh look. And the only real differences when the Olympic went on her, I like to call second maiden voyage, was the big coal smoke was no longer there. Fresh and clean oil smoke. And the Olympic, sadly, had to be given away to the Cunard White Star Line, which this was because of the Great Depression. See, before this, the Olympic had a great career in the 1920s. She was considered the movie vessel just because of how she was. She was a fresh ocean liner, like her ill-fated sister, the Titanic. And after the two companies were trying to build these mega projects, they both went bankrupt because of the Great Depression. And basically the bigger company, which had the more ships, would take over. And if the White Star Line would not have scrapped some ships before this choice, they probably would have gotten the total. But the Cunard won, and that's hence the name, the Cunard White Star Line. It's sad. It really is. And the Olympic in 1934 crashed into the Nantucket. I'm not surprised. I really am not. And then in 1935, she was scrapped. And that's the story of what happened to the RMS Olympic after World War I. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and see you all later. Bye. Ow, my foot. Just ignore that one, guys. See you all later. Bye. And also, thank you for 100 subscribers. Amazing milestone for me. Thank you.